I've changed my mind about this because I thought, no, actually the pressure's not on Rodgers this season. But the more I thought about it, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, a tremendous amount. He's already on the back nine of his career.
He's 35.
Right. So how many more years of, Brady's at 42 and Breeze is not 40. And Brady is resetting the record every day.
And Brady's game is different also. Aaron Rodgers is relying on athleticism.
But the league is different than it used to be, particularly with the roughing the passing. In the game against the Chiefs, the linebacker lets Brady walk into the end zone because he's afraid to touch him.
Right.
Like, that's what it's come to. So that will help Aaron Rodgers, too. As well as Aaron Rodgers runs, he's also in the pocket a lot. And so he has years, but he's played more years than he will play.
Right.
He's played more years at an elite level than he will play. He's won one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, it's not Dan Marino, get to one, win none. So he's never in the conversation, even though people who lived through that era were all like, all right, Joe Montana's the greatest ever. What, did you see Dan Marino?
Yeah.
It was like that with Brady and Peyton Manning for a while. Well, Brady's the greatest, but did you see Peyton Manning? But in fact, then Peyton won two, and Rodgers is stuck on one. Rodgers has more influence over the outcome of any given game than any football player I have ever seen at any position. I think he's the best football player who ever lived. One Super Bowl. He will never be actually it because I mean,
it's just it's hard
to prove.
No. It's hard to prove, but I don't disagree with you. I'm wowing because how you can say that sentence and go from there to say that he has pressure. You were right the first time when you said that he didn't have much pressure on him. But please proceed. Explain to me how you can think he's the greatest football player
there's
ever.
a difference between being the best and being the greatest. Greatest is about accomplishment. Best is about what you believe the person's ability is, their skillfulness, etc. Tom Brady's not the best football player I've ever seen. He's not even in the conversation for me of best. But he is the greatest football player of all time. So Aaron Rodgers isn't in that greatest conversation. And who knows how many more cracks he'll get at it. And finally, Dominique, he runs the other coach out of town for good reason. Now he's got another one. If this doesn't work out, it's like, Aaron Rodgers, what do you want? What do you need?
Tom Brady has run away with the greatest, so Aaron Rodgers is not going to catch him if it's about achievements. We both agree that Aaron Rodgers' window is probably going to close sooner because he relies so much more on athleticism than a guy like Tom Brady, and he's been hurt quite a few times in recent history. So why I think there's no pressure or very little pressure on him is because all the things you laid out beforehand. His story's already written. Is he a Hall of Famer? Obviously. And the one bar that you need to clear is to win a Super Bowl. He's already won a Super Bowl. This new thing that you're creating, that you got to win 2 Super Bowls, all of a sudden, that's new.
More than 2.
No, exactly. This is brand new. The bar was always, was he a Super Bowl winning quarterback or not? That was the bar. He cleared that bar. He's cleared all the bars that we need. There is no pressure on him right now he's already gotten his contract. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already won a Super Bowl. What more do you want?
When you could be the greatest who ever did it. Look, John Elway.
Can't be.
John Elway went back-to-back the last 2 years of his career, right, to clear the hurdles you're talking about, and was for a while in the conversation. Is he the greatest of all time, right? If Aaron Rodgers were to win a couple more, he would absolutely be in that conversation, even with half the number of Super Bowls, because it's well known to everyone that Tom Brady played for the greatest coach and GM who ever lived by far, and Aaron Rodgers certainly did not. Going into this, or at least last year, special teams was a mess. The defense wasn't great, et cetera, typical Packers stuff. And Aaron Rodgers is asked to carry the load. They brought in a lot of talent on defense. They changed head coaches. If they don't make the playoffs, for example, what would you say? What are people going to say if they don't make the playoffs?
Nothing.
They're not going to say anything? No.
I certainly think people are going to be upset. They're going to talk some trash about Aaron Rodgers. Most of the weight is going to fall on Matt LaFleur because he is an unproven offensive coordinator pretty much, and now he's a head coach. He wasn't even really proven as an offensive coordinator. He's a head coach. He's a disciple of the Shanahan tree, so I think that this will work because those offenses tend to work. But that's who's going to reap most of the criticism is Matt LaFleur, the unproven head coach, not the guy who just said is maybe the best football player you've ever seen. His legacy is already written.
Matt LaFleur doesn't pan out.
The way that greatest works out normally, it's like with your generation. He's already lost this generation, Max. I'm sorry. Unless it's unrealistic, unless he's able to win a few more in a row, then maybe he's in the greatest conversation.
That's
but even at that point, he doesn't come close to Tom Brady's achievement.
Career, it's Super Bowl. But even this ties into career too, but certainly in the moment, got to make the playoffs. Right. If they don't make the playoffs, hold on. If you're such a great quarterback, you got to make the playoffs, brother. Dominique, look at the NFC North. And we'll get into this later in the show. There's no guarantee this team makes the playoffs.
Agreed.
Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed.
Aaron Rodgers' historical standing and his standing in the league right now will be damaged if that happens.
No, it won't.
Yes, people aren't going to remember Matt LaFleur's name.
I agree. Several years from now, we're not going to remember any of this. We're going to remember that he was the best football player we've ever seen, and he won a Super Bowl. And his numbers are going to match up well with everyone, with the exception of Tom Brady's Super Bowl wins. He is one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Who's the pressure on in Green Bay?
Matt LaFleur.
Is there pressure? Okay. As you just agreed, if Matt LaFleur has success, they'll remember his name. If he fails, no one will remember his name. What they will remember is it seemed like no matter who was coaching Aaron Rodgers there, it didn't really matter. He had a problem with the coach and didn't get there.
No, that won't be the history. He's
Aaron
a Super Bowl
Rodgers hasn't been to the Super Bowl in 9 years. I mean, are there more Super Bowls in his future? If so, how many?
I think they have a good chance this year, but I mean, I'd have to go the field on that. If the NFC is very tough this coming season, and it will be for the foreseeable future with a lot of some pretty good young quarterbacks and a team that they kind of went all in on free agency this year. I think they spent like $60 million in free agency, which is more than they spent in the 6 years combined. So they are definitely making a win now run. But I think maybe one more is wishful thinking, and if that's the expectation, I think it's more likely that they don't go back.
Here is where a man of my considerable intellect, Dominique,
okay, here we go.
has to admit when he's giving you the dumb sports guy take that confuses cause and effect. I think they're going to get to another one. And partly that's because I do think he's the best I've ever seen.
Right. And
I do believe if you're that guy and you have a good enough team around you with good enough coaching, I don't want to hear a bunch of excuses.
Thank you so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.